What do you think of when you hear the word fairy? Chances are you imagine the magical and kind creatures that wave their wands and bring good to the world by changing things for the better. After all, this is what we grow up knowing through most fairy tales. However, this positive image of fairies can be very deceiving and different from reality. In fact, many stories such as Sir Orfeo portray fairies through a whole different lens. They show fairies to be dangerous and problematic because they interfere with the human world and exert their dominance over mortals. In this presentation, I'll explore the potential dangers of fairies as portrayed through Sir Orfeo and examine why fairies choose to pose the dominance over humanity. The story is about Sir Orfeo, a king who is amazing at the harp and whose wife Herodes gets abducted by fairies. Sir Orfeo then forces himself into exile by going into the forest to find his wife and feel her sense of loss. The story shows that the primary danger that fairies pose over humans is a physical one. We tend to think of fairies as tiny creatures, which promotes the idea that they are harmless. However, in reality, because fairies have extensive supernatural powers, they can easily dominate humans. This is certainly the case in Sir Orfeo, where the fairies cause Sir Orfeo's wife Herodes to start scratching her face till it turns bloody. Also, the fairies threaten to tear apart her limbs and use their powers to make her disappear from her home. Sir Orfeo attempts to save her by bringing 1,000 knights with him, but even this doesn't work. This shows the physical disbalance between fairies and mortals, and thus the threatening power of fairies. Near the end of the story, when Sir Orfeo finally gets into the fairies' castle, he sees a lot of gory and suffering bodies, which seem to be the result of the fairies' extensive physical power and danger. Aside from just a physical power, fairies also possess a critical psychological and emotional danger for humans. This danger causes humans to become irrational and lead themselves to danger. In fact, Herodes is so emotionally distressed by the fairies that she can't get out of bed and she keeps on wailing. Additionally, Sir Orfeo displays the most critical example of the psychological impact that fairies can have. In the story, the fairies cause Sir Orfeo to give up his kingdom and go into the forest all by himself. This capability to divert humans from any goals that they may have is dangerous because it leaves many things, such as Sir Orfeo's castle, to uncertainty and disorder. Furthermore, the problem lies in the fact that fairies don't seem to have consequences for their actions, which motivates them to hurt humans as they please. Fairies also pose a danger in having the power to intrude into the human world whenever they want, while humans don't have the reciprocal effect with the fairy world. In the stories, the fairies poof in and out of Sir Orfeo's domain, then they take Herodes, but meanwhile Sir Orfeo must spend years in the forest before he can find the fairy world where his wife was abducted to. This distinction makes fairies a serious threat for mortals because it basically makes fairies immortal to humans, which leads them to intrude into the human world. Through just a single story, fairies have been shown to have a lot of potential danger, contrasting with their popular image. Next time that you watch movies or read books involving fairies, think about their dangerous aspects and how they intrude into the human world. By thinking about this, and why fairies choose to intrude into the human world, you'll also come away with a better understanding of the story and its themes.